Hi everyone, welcome to another video. I'm Laurent Macar. We're in a different setting today and we're gonna do something different. I'm at my parents' for the weekend. I've been wanting to bring back to the place where I now live at some books that I used to read, and that are now here in boxes. And because I like the whole idea of, the nostalgia of digging into those boxes and looking, oh look, this is this and this, I figured it'd be nice to share that with you. So I found the boxes. I've been digging yesterday into some old places where my mother stashed stuff, and I found the old boxes. I even found, in my previous video that I'll tag up here somewhere, I talked about remembering a box with books from La Bibliothèque Rose that my mother used to have. And Bibliothèque Rose is a publication house in France that does books for kids. And this is the box in question. It's so old. This is an old Cocotte Minute. I have no idea how old this is. It even says Bibliothèque Rose on it. So I'm gonna start with this box. Also found a bag. This is the bag with some books in it as well. I don't really know what's in it. And then, let me move you, but here I've got the big box in question, and there were some loose books as well, and I'm just gonna go through them real fast. I don't know what all of them are. I don't know what I'm gonna see. So I hope it's going to be entertaining at least. So let's open the Bibliothèque Rose box. I'm hoping to really find some old favorites, and I'm going to see what I'm going to bring with me. Okay, the first we've got Général de Carine. Can't remember it. Let's see! Oh, I remember this! And look how beautiful those old covers are. Oh! Yes, I remember reading this. Château de l'Inférieur, don't know this. I remember this cover. Remember this cover, La Compagnon des Monos. I remember this as well. Oh, and we've got now a few without covers. Le Mauvais Génie, L'Enfant du Pays. Can't remember these! I think I've only read them once. Quel Enfant d'Amour. No, don't remember that one. Les Petites Filles Modèles. Ah, and this one. I remember this. Les Quatre Filles du Docteur March. This is Little Women. And when I first opened the box and looked at what was inside, this was the book that was on top, so this was the book I started with, I remember. So you got Joe and all the rest on this. I remembered when I was reading Little Women, I was like, this rings a bell. Makes sense. I did actually read it. La Fortune de Gaspard. This rings a bell. Oh, this is from the Comtesse de Ségur. She wrote books. I remember her name. François Le Bossu, kind of remember this. Le Cygne de Solveig, nope. Une aviatrice de 12 ans. Pinocchio. Oh, Les Malheurs de Sophie. This was a TV show a lot in France at school about a little girl that has trouble all the time, and this one I don't remember either. Okay, so this one I really remember from when I was young, and I also really remember Les Quatre Filles du Docteur March. But I'm not going to bring any of these with me. I like that they're all together in this box. And I love these old... When would these be? I wonder when these are editions are from. Let me check. 1951. These were my grandmother's. My mother wasn't even born then, in 1951. How cool. Okay. Let me clean this, and then we'll do the clack thing, and then it's all gonna be cleaned. The box is put away now. If you've read any of these, I'd love to hear, by the way. Okay, I'm gonna go to, there were a few books that were not actually in a box, so I'm gonna go through those first. First, we've got the trilogy by Philip Pullman. I can't actually remember what it's called, but we've got Le Royaume du Nord, The Kingdom of the North, The Tower of the Angels, and The Amber Mirror. I should know what this series is called. And actually Philip Pullman has been reading a second trilogy to accompany this, which the first book of that trilogy is a prequel to this story, and the second one is a sequel. And I just bought the sequel yesterday because I finally found it in the format that I wanted. And I've been meaning to reread these because I loved them as a kid. It's the story about, Lyra, who lives in the world where people have demons, which are animals that when your kid still changes shape, and she goes on a mission to rescue one of her friends that has been kidnapped, and she ends up finding Will, who's from another world, and they also end up going to the world of the dead. And I really like this trilogy, but I think that reading it now, I'm gonna discover so much of what's behind it. Now, another thing that I found yesterday, because I could already see this, is a manga that I really liked, and that is Erigata. And I don't have them all, I only found these 3 when I was shopping in France. And the reason I love this is because it's a manga about rowing. And I'm a rower. Rowing is my sport. Rowing is the sport that I've done. I mean, up until a few years ago, I rowed every day of the week. So it's my thing. So I really like that there was a series that was about that. And the representation of rowing in this is not great, but I still loved it anyway, and the love story in this is really cute. It's about 2 friends that are rowers and that are competing and want to go to the Olympic Games, and there's a girl, and it's cute. Next, we have another bunch that was not in a box, and that is the Twilight series. I'm not gonna go into these. I really liked reading these when I was 15, 16, and the first movie had just come out, and then I bought all of them and just read them in 1 week. But in fact, they're really trash, and I'm gonna link a video down below that explains why these are so trash and the bad that they actually do, and the representation of whiteness of color being better than any other color. And someone is at one point also described it, a Latino man that becomes a vampire, then despite his brown skills still has become more beautiful but still is less than the others, and the relationship of Bella and Edward being very unhealthy and stuff like that. So check out that video because it really opened my eyes to how bad this actually is and the damage that it does. It's not only just a bad book, but it's actually damage. Okay, I'm opening the box now. Ha! So first on top, we've got my Narnia books. Really liked Narnia when I was a child. I've read these a lot of times. These are my French Narnia. I've also got, because the series is 5 books, and the first one, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, I've got that one in English, and that one is actually in Rotterdam where I live, because we recently read it with my book club. So we've got The Prince Caspian, we've got The Last Battle. I remember really liking this one because at the end everybody comes back. This is The Nephew's Magician, so this is in fact now actually normally the first one, and The Stool or something. And there's also one, it should be in here, that I have in Dutch, the one that they go overseas. But I've been wanting to reread these. I'm gonna say I've been wanting to reread these about a lot of books. Let's see what we have next. What's this? Oh! Ivan le Chevalier au Lion by Chrétien III. I should be saying what the authors are. Love this. It's a story about a knight during Arthur's era, and so I might have to say lions were my favorite animals, so I got stuff that had lions with them, and this is Ivan the Nine Knight, and he can't really remember, but he goes on a mission to save someone, a woman most probably, and he becomes friends with the lion, and the lion fights with him. I really like this. It was a knight. I like knights. Every kid likes knights, right? Okay, this is The Hut van Ome Tom, The Hut of Uncle Tom. I never actually read this. I'm not sure I will, because representation of slaves isn't fantastic in this one. Ooh. Mémoire d'une pirate by Celia Rees. I've got this in French, and this is 2 girls, one English from high society and one that was, I'm gonna assume, probably a slave who become pirates. And this is one of those books where female empowerment was, for what I could read at the time, nicely done. They're completely unapologetic and become captains of the ship, if I remember well. Woo! Michel Tournier, Vendredi ou la vie sauvage. This is a retelling of Robinson Crusoe, and I actually also read this one in high school. Ooh, another one that I read in high school. I think a lot of my high school books are in it. Balzac et la petite tailleuse chinoise. Yeah, definitely read this one in high school. I did not like this at all. It's about 2 boys during the Cultural Revolution in China are forced to go to the countryside to work. They both fall in love with a little girl, and one starts reading books to her, including Balzac and other big French writers. I never really understood why we had to read this. I didn't think it was very good at the time. Ooh, German! Die Welle. I had German in high school, and we also read books, and I really liked that part because I like reading books, so reading books in German only made sense, and reading books in another language that you kind of understand, it's a great way to broaden your vocabulary. And also, I'm the kind of reader that if I don't understand something, I don't really care, I just continue reading. So that meant that I could still enjoy this without stopping at every sentence. Oh, what's this word? Because you'll understand the word eventually. If it becomes important enough, it'll come back, and then you'll, at one point, understand it from the context. So that's my 2 cents on reading in a different language. Oh, Contes et légendes de Norvège. These are fairy tales from Norway. I've read this 1,000 times. They're just short little stories, and I think this is a cute book also to keep for when I have children. So this one is probably going to go with me to Rotterdam. I should have made 2 stacks to decide right now also what I'm taking with me and what I'm not. Ooh! The Legend of Arthur and the Holy Grail and the Round Table. I don't think, no, I haven't read this. Ooh, this is a fatty with little letters, and it's got actually a couple of stories on this. We've got Percival, we've got Merlin, we've got the Book of Caradoc, etc, etc, etc. I don't think I'm ever going to read this. You're going to stay here. I don't even know why I have this. Probably because I was interested and just got it at one point. But it looks old. Ah, this is my Dutch Narnia book that I was talking about. This is, in Dutch, it's De Reis van het Drakenschip. Don't know what it's called in English. But it's the one where only Edmund and Lucy go back to Narnia and they help Caspian to cross the sea and have a lot of fun. Ooh, Da Vinci Code. Didn't really like this. Never liked this. By Dan Brown. Yeah! I was wondering. The box is transparent, so I was wondering what the books with the same height and stuff were. These are great. These are comics, and there was always a comic by Tum Tum and Nana at the end of a magazine that I got weekly previously when I was really young. I have already a couple of these at home because I figured they'd be nice to read in French by my boyfriend. Oh, but this is so much nostalgia. I'm definitely gonna read a few of them and probably be really irritated at these kids. Ah. Ooh, this is Shakespeare, Romeo et Juliet. Read it in French, read it in high school. It was good to learn a bit more about, because for me, Romeo and Juliet is just a sappy story about 2 people falling in love, and I don't really understand what the point of it is. So that was helpful to do it in class. Not gonna reread it, definitely not in French at least. Also, why bother reading Shakespeare in French? Especially when you're at a European school where you have the possibility of doing it in the actual language it's been written in. So these I knew I had here. Oh no, this one's hurt. I don't like it when my books are hurt. But these are my Aragon, The Inheritance by Christopher Paolini. This one I have in French. Then we have Eldest. I think then it's Inheritance. And then it's Brisinger. This was the kind of book that I really liked when I was younger. It's got dragons. I'm gonna hold them up. Okay, it's not working. It's too big. It's about a young man that gets an egg, a dragon egg, and out of the egg comes this dragon. It's Saphira, and he then has to cross all over the world because dragon and dragon riders were not really a thing at that time anymore. They were persecuted because they were a threat to the empire, whatever it's called. And one of the things that I remember is I had finished this, and I was just waiting for every next installment when Christopher Paolini was writing this. And at one point I realized that the structure of the story is the same as that of Luke Skywalker in the 4th Star Wars. So I was simultaneously really disappointed that Christopher Paolini had, in my eyes, stolen that storyline. But at the same time, I was also very proud that I had found this out. So I even made a Word document like, oh, this happened, and 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 this happened. And that character's this character, and stuff like that. But I still really like this, and the story does, separate itself from that in the other books. I really like this. I don't think I'd like it now. I think it would be way too long. But I also love, actually, the covers. They're so nice. Look how beautiful these are. These dragons. It really helps to make the dragons in the book have a feeling as well. Let's see. Okay. Ooh! My Lord of the Rings. I've got them in French. This boxed set. Wait, I want to show you the covers. Let me see. This is the first one. It's not working. Okay, I can't get them out. I remember how horrible it was every time to have to put these out and in and stuff. I've been wanting to get... Actually, I think this is the cover of the first one, this of the second one, and this of the third one. But I've been wanting to get an English set of these 3 books and read them in that language. But still, happy to have them because I've been meaning to reread them. But I want to reread them in English, so why bother taking this one with me? Okay, gotta think about that. Next, we have, by Joseph Cassel, Le Lion. As I said, I liked lions, but I don't think I ever actually read this, so I can't tell you what it's about. It's probably a lion, there's probably a kid. And if I remember correctly, the lion dies? Somehow I've got that information in my head. Okay, next, Roald Dahl! Danny, the champion of the world. Got this in English. Yeah, nothing much to say. Roald Dahl is great. Woo! Harry Potter 4. I think we had 3 Harry Potter books in French, but I had all of the English ones as well. And J.K. Rowling is not a good person. So that's all I have to say about that for now. This is another book that I've read in high school by François Rabelais. We've got Gargantua, Pantagruel, Tiers Livre, Quart Livre, and Cinquième Livre. Rabelais is a writer from France from the 16th century. So this is also, well, no, they fixed this French. But these stories are completely cuckoo. It's about Gargantua, who's a man that eats a lot, and then it's about his son, Pantagruel, and he just does a lot of weird stuff. So at one point, he eats a lot and a lot and a lot and a lot and a lot. We've got the expression of something being gargantuesque, which means it's huge in French. And after that, he goes on a hill above Paris somewhere, and then he just pees so much that the whole of Paris is drowned. So you've got a lot of stuff like that that is just hilarious and doesn't make sense at all. Ooh, I've got notes in this. I think it would be really fun to reread this. Ooh, look, I made this when I was younger. Yeah, I'm so proud. But yeah, this was fun. I want to reread this at one point. Oh, Wuthering Heights! I already read this, and actually last week I got an edition of 4 books by the Bronte sisters. So Wuthering Heights, Jane Eyre, and 2 other ones that I forgot, but simultaneously. So, don't know, I'm probably gonna keep this here. I don't think I even read it when I was a child. And then we've got The Actual Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe. Haven't read this either, but apparently I did start because there is a bookmark in here. A guy is abandoned on the island. Sophie's World by Justine Gardner. This is about a young girl who learns about philosophy. And this is one of those books that a lot of people start, but everybody ends about halfway through because at the middle part it just becomes very, very, very slow, and you've got a lot of information about these philosophers and what they believed, and it just becomes a lot. I don't know now if it would be the kind of book that I would read to learn about the philosophers. Don't know. Yes, I was hoping you were gonna be in here. So these 4 are Titus Flaminius by Jean-François Namias. I love this. These were my favorites. It's historical fiction. I'm surprised I didn't find any more historical fiction by now, but it's about this man called Titus Flaminius who lives in ancient Rome, and in the first one, there's a kind of murder of a Vestal, a young girl who's set aside from the world to be pretty, and I don't really remember. And there's something with his family also. The second one, there's a murder in a gladiator's enclave, so he becomes a gladiator. This was my favorite. The third one, Le Mystère de Louise, can't remember it at all, but there's one thing that I do remember is that one of the theories in this book, or by one of the characters in the book, is that every day you have a day of Persephone and a day of Chloe. Was her other name? No. The other name of Persephone before she became the wife of Hades. And you could feel in the air the day that Persephone goes back to the underworld. You can feel it in the air because it's colder, and at the same time you also have a day where you know it's the day of Chloe. I think, I can't remember. Where suddenly everything is warmer, and from then on spring starts. I can't remember the murder. And this one is where he goes to La Gaule, the French, how do you call the Les Gaulois? You know what Asterix and Obelix are. Oh, and apparently Titus Flaminius went with Julius Caesar to the La Gaule to do something. I really like these books. They really gave me an insight into the ancient Roman world in a way that was for books as well. Ha! Griezelbus. These are Dutch. It's by Paul de Loon. These are really for kids, and it's about a bus in which spooky things happen. I've got the 0 and the 1. These are nice. I want to keep this for my kids later. I have no idea what they're about. Oh, I had forgotten about this. Tyria, le pharaon de l'ombre. It's also historical fiction. It's a young girl in ancient Egypt, and she's the daughter of the pharaoh. Who knew? And she tries to escape because her father wants her to marry someone, and then she finds out that there is a plot to kill her father. Historical fiction. Ravensgate by Anthony Horowitz. Power of 5. I just remember liking this. It's a young boy, and he turns out that he was, look, it says here on the back, he always knew he was different. First there were the dreams, then the death began. This is the first of a series, and I never read the rest. But I remember liking it and wanting to read the rest. That makes sense? I need to reach to get these. The second book of Tyria. Well, this might be the first, actually. No idea. This is either the first or the second. Let me check also with the other one, because I'm curious now. Where is the other book? Here. No, this is the first one, and this is the second one. Why is that not written somewhere on the cover? You just have to, it's this one that it says at the end, other adventures by her. Oh, I'm so sad for myself. I think I would have wanted to read more by her. Alain Surget wrote this. Okay, we've got a few other books in the box. I talked about this last week. This is the book that I advised my French teacher that we should read. It's L'Histoire de l'Enquereur, a woman who is born being deaf and blind and learning to communicate with the world by signing letters in palms. This was very insightful. Oh, L'Ami Retrouvé by Fred Ullman. This had a huge impact on me. I was very lonely as a child. I didn't have a lot of friends, also as a teen. And in this book you have two boys. One is Jewish and one is German, and they become fast friends. They're the only ones who really understand one another, but at one point one has to flee Germany because of the Second World War. This starts, I think, in 1932. They don't see each other for very long, but they have a huge impact on one another, and the German boy then becomes a soldier, and there's always this question of, but my friend, what happened to my friend? This was good. I think I want to reread this. Ooh, then we've got Jean Cocteau, La Machine Infernale. This is a retelling of the Oedipus story. Oh, and this is a play. Oedipus is a myth in ancient Greece. In this retelling, there's a lot of story around fate and what fate is. La Machine Infernale, the infernal machine, is a reference to fate, and that being a machine that you can't do anything against. But I liked any Greek retelling, still do. Oh, A Passage to India by E.M. Forster. This is another book that we had to read in high school, but this one we actually had to read in English. I think we read this one and Death of a Salesman. Oh, it's not in the box. And both were... A Passage to India is just a terrible book to make teens read. This is not one of the books that makes people want to read at all. It's just very, very long, dry explanations of what the view is like in India, and it's colonial, and it's just ancient English colonialism. And also now I realize not only was this reading-wise just a bad experience, but we didn't even use this as a reason to talk about colonialism at all. I don't remember what it's about. I think it's about a man and a woman who go to... we've got apparently a Dr. Aziz who is accused of assaulting Adela Quested, a naive young Englishwoman. As he is brought to trial, the fragile structures of Anglo-Indian relations collapses and the racism inherent in colonialism is exposed. This sounds interesting. This actually sounds like something I would want to read now. But I remember, I mean, we were maybe 30-ish reading this dispersed over 2 classes, maximum 30. And there were 3 of us that finished this. Of course I was one of the nerds that did finish it, but... Okay, now I'm curious what I would make of this now, because this does sound good, but I remember it just being so dreary. Intriguing. Ah, and this is, you know, I just showed you by Michel Tournier, Vendredi ou les Lames du Pacifique. There's this one I read in class, but I already had it, but I probably didn't find it, and obviously it wasn't a good idea to read it in another edition, because then you wouldn't know, read until page 10, and oh, this is this on page 15. I don't know where that is, I've got another edition. Here. Great. Fantastic. Okay, these were all the books in the box. And I've also got this bag. And I'm curious what's in here. Ooh, I think it's a bunch of French books. I hope you're still here. I hope this is entertaining. Let's see what this stack is. L'Appel de la Forêt by Jack London. This is a kid's book, but I think it's The Call of the Wild. I think it hasn't been translated. Let me check. Wait, real quick. It's something about a dog, anyway. Yeah, this was translated from the English, so I think this is The Call of the Wind. No, The Call of the Wild. Can't remember it. Agatha Christie! Mort sur le Nil. Liked Agatha Christie. In this one, Poirot has to resolve a murder on the Nile. This was the second one I read. The first one was The Orient Express, and The Orient Express is one of the best, I still think, and this one was just a little bit dreary compared to that. We've got a few Roald Dahl. Look, we've got Charlie and the BFG, and I'm gonna put you with your friend. Where's your friend, Danny? I'm surrounded by books. This is the place where I want to be. But where is Danny? I want to put you with Danny. I can't find Danny. I can just feel these books being sad they're not with their other friend. Oh, maybe, wait, it's going to be one of the books that I used to from on my leg. No, okay, I'm gonna put this with Danny when I clean up this mess. And then we've got, oh, another Agatha Christie, The Five Little Pigs. Can't remember this one at all. But yeah, Agatha Christie, Hercule Poirot, go for it. Haruki Murakami. I haven't read this one. This is Les Amants du Spoutnik, which in English, well, no, sorry. The original title is Sputnik no Koibito. And I don't know, it's one of the titles with Sputnik. I haven't read this. I didn't even know I had this. I've read 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami, But it was not intrigue enough for me to actually also read the third book, although I remember really being invested into the love story that was there. I think I'm gonna leave this here though. Another one that I don't think I ever read, can't even remember this. This is by Denis Grozanovic, and it is L'art difficile de ne presque rien faire. My father actually had this, I think. My father is not a big reader, and he gave it to me during a time where I had to do nothing to recuperate for reasons, and I never actually read it because I'd already know what doing nothing was like. Okay, last books. There isn't actually anything that I was expecting to see that I didn't find. So this is good. Let me see. Ooh, these are a lot of historical fiction. We've got L'Affaire Caius to Henri Winterfield. Don't remember what it's about, but there was a time where I was really into anything that was ancient Rome and ancient Greece. So we've got this one. We've got Le Dernier Jour de Pompéi, The Last Days of Pompeii. I remember this. We've got a man and two women, and the man is in love with one of the women, and she's also in love with him, and they've got this epic love that they both want to die for each other during the last days of Pompeii. But I remember mostly there's this other girl, and she also is in love with the man, but they're friends, and she never tells him, because she's like, and she doesn't want him to feel bad, she doesn't want him to have to deal with her love, and her love is so powerful that she sacrifices herself to save them two, and them two together, she goes back into flames or something to save the other woman. And I thought that type of love, the one where you're willing to suffer in silence, although unhealthy, is more powerful than the whole Romeo and Juliet, I'll die for you! And it's got a lot more worth to stay living, so first of all, and it's, I don't know, this made me think a lot, I remember. Okay, then we've got another Caius. This is actually the second one of this one. It's about Caius, that's all I can say. Le Complot à Versailles by Annie J. I did not read this one. I remember it sitting on my shelves and being one of the books I still needed to read. These are all for kids that are about 10 years old, so maybe I should find other people to make them read. Roald Dahl, Charlie et la Chocolat Tri. This one is in French. Let me see. So, I've already got this one. Haha! But I'm gonna put you with your friends. Then we've got, oh yes! So this is actually a book that I think a lot of French kids read. It's Le Petit Nicolas by Sampé and Goscinny. Goscinny is also the writer of Asterix and Obelix. Le Petit Nicolas, I don't think I actually read this because I also had the tape, so I listened to this mostly, and it's about a young boy and his stories when he goes on holiday. So in this, there's at one point he goes to a camp, and there's also him just going to the sea with his parents, and it's just this young boy, and I love this. But now I think about this, I think, why were there no girls in here? Why is Le Petit Nicolas always playing with his friends, his friends that were all boys? Why are there no girls? Anyway, I still like this. I'm gonna bring this with me because I think this is the level that my boyfriend will read. And I recently, somewhere a couple of months ago, found a book in a mini beep that was by Sampé, but it wasn't Le Petit Nicolas, but I remembered the drawing style. And I gave that one to my boyfriend to read. This one I do not remember. Anne B. Ragde, Zona Frigida. It is French. I have no recollection of this whatsoever. Oh, it's been translated from Norwegian. I'm gonna see if this is an interesting enough book to count as my book from Norway. Last but not least, well no, maybe it is least, I didn't remember like this. This is a book that I read in high school. It's by Jean Giono, Voyage en Italie. This again is one of those books that I don't know why they make teens read it, because it was not interesting. It's a book in which Jean Giono just tells us about his voyages through Italy, and it's like, I'm 16, I don't care. Nothing interesting happened also. It was just him describing beautiful cities, and yeah, now I get that might be interesting to just enjoy someone writing beautiful cities and sceneries and, you know, having that holiday feeling. But when you're 16, you don't care. So this one is not gonna go with me. I've got quite a few books here. I'm finished, by the way, going through the stacks. I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun to decide what I'm gonna bring with me and what I'm not gonna bring with me. I think I'm gonna bring with me less than I thought. I thought there was gonna be a lot more nostalgia, but I've got a lot of nostalgia about this one, the Philip Pullman, and my Aragon. I might just bring them in a box. I'm not gonna reread them, but I think later when I have more shelves that it's gonna be really nice to have them as well. And I'm not gonna bring that much. I hope this was slightly interesting for you to see. I'm not going to tag any of these books in the description box because that's way too much work and I don't feel like it. Oh, I'm also bringing back my Narnia, definitely, for sure. And I'm not sure whether I'm going to burn Stephanie Meyer or just leave it here to perish so that I can sometimes when I see it just be reminded of how bad it is. Anyway, if you have read any of these, I would love to hear from you because these kind of books, especially, I mean, these kind, they're really kids' books. These are for kids of 10, but I don't know. I still probably read them when I was 13 or 14, because you could just read this in one day, and that was the kind of kid I was. Anyway, love to hear from you if you read any of these. And do you have a box like this at your parents that you know contains a lot of your old books? And don't you want to have that box? Just to look through it once in a while. I'll see you in another video. I think I've rambled long enough. Sorry for this long video. See you next time. Bye.